Welcome to your Heka Healing Oracle reading. I thought I'd bring a bit of spice to the channel, to the normal videos that I do, and bring you a Heka Healing Oracle reading. A lot more basic than it would be in an actual session. So the way it works, okay, so Heka, for those of you that don't know, Heka is magic and medicine. So it's the Egyptian like power. It's Egyptian magic. It's the essence that comes like pulling that frequency down into one's being and kind of allowing the Heka to flow through the body, and then you create from there. So Heka, okay, is, as I say, is kind of like the magic and medicine of Egypt, but he is indeed a physical god. And he is accompanied, usually when you speak about Heka, there is Sia and there is Hu. So now Sia and Hu, they are power of three. Sia is the god of perception, okay, the idea. Then you have Hu, which is human, bringing Hu, the divine, into the being, into the physical, which is man, okay? And that is kind of like that stage you start to bring your idea into some kind of like physical practicality to start building it. And then Heka would be the like full-on activating force that brings those three, when all combined together, into physical manifestation in the world. Okay, so Heka is kind of the kaboom factor. And yeah, the three of them together encompass the alchemical formulas of intention plus action equals creation. And that is across the board. It doesn't matter what faith that you're in, alchemy is alchemy, all right? And that is basically the alchemical formula. So Sia, Hu, and Heka kind of like bring the thought into the landing platform and then into a thing. You know what I mean? So working with this divine formula, which is a lot of my work is, well, all of my work is based on this actually, because it's a landing template that really brings the divine feminine codes of creation. And when you've got those two popping off in that kind of template, all sorts of magic happens. Magic. So now I do an oracle reading, and I just thought, well, the way I do this oracle reading, I thought I'll share it on video, because I think that we really, it would be quite cool to actually have some kind of like guidance for January, because the word of the day for January, or words of the day for me, is stillness, observing, just being the watcher, not much action to be taken, because we are so like saturated, divinely saturated in the divine feminine right now. And it's now really coming into this way that we don't have to work so hard to bring our creations forward. So it's a very sort of like, almost like a surreal energy that we're in, because we're like, well, we're not really doing anything, but everything's still happening. That's what we need to like get used to. Whereas before we used to effort so hard, push an elephant up the hill, and maybe it didn't happen, maybe it did happen. But I just thought with this stillness that we're in, which is going to be the tone of January, how do we embody this divine feminine fully? And just, what do we need to know about the month of January? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place 3 cards down. 1, 2, 3. Sia, Hu, and Heka. So it basically gives me 3 columns, right? Then I'm going to take 3 cards down for each column. Now, when I do actual reading, it's obviously I work with about 4 decks of cards. It gets quite crazy, but it's very, very in-depth reading. So we bring all the consciousness in. But for now, for purpose of a video, we're going to do it just basic, but it's still going to give us a lot of information. So let's chuck some cards down, shall we? The deck I'm working with is the Oracle of Portals. Love these because they've got the I was going to say the Sphinx. It's not the Sphinx at all, is it? The Stonehenge, on the back of the cards, and I love it. And so they're very pagan-y. I like these. Like me a bit of pagan, like me a bit of Avalon. All right, so now let's chuck the cards out. In light of the month of January, what do we need to do? What do we need to know? So put the first card down, which is Sia, the god of perception, which is the idea. And I'm going to put the other ones down as well, Sia, Hu, and Heka. Now, we're going to put 3 cards down as well. So we're going to speak to Sia and say, right, what do we need to know about the idea? What's our vision? What's the guidance of our vision? So we turn over the first card, and we have freedom. Okay, this is amazing, because freedom is actually what we get gifted when we allow the divine feminine to lead. Look at that. She's coming out of the cage. Beautiful flowers there. Sun shines out. No more restriction. No more restriction if you are letting the divine feminine lead. Okay, so that's a very powerful card to kick off the reading. Love that. Now, the second card underneath, what else does he have to tell us? Olympus. So this is kind of like, this is very much as above, so below for me. Okay, so you've got kind of like the divine temple up in the sky. I don't know if you can see that. And then you have Olympus down on the earth. So basically that is about, divine reflection now. So imagine that we're this temple, which is the divine feminine, and we are now like, whatever we feel inside, okay, is going to emanate out there, because that's actually the principle of correspondence, the Hermetic principle of correspondence, as above, so below. And that kind of embodies the fact that whatever you feel inside is what's going to be reflected out there, and vice vice versa. And that is the as above, so below, so within, so without theory. But you can see there that it is reflecting the divine into the earth, and the earth is reflecting the divine above. So in light of the fact that we are in freedom and we're working with the divine feminine, it's all about taking care of your inner world and making sure that you're always aligned in the stillness. No more doing. When you go into the doing frenzy, disengage, go walk the dogs, go sit under a tree, breathe, realign, and get used to this new way of being, because that's where everything truly gets created. Now, the final card in that column for seer is peace. What's not to love? So he's given us a divine formula there, and all of the rainbow codes are there. There's a bridge. Let's talk about that bridge. That bridge is what we're currently on right now as we step from the old timeline into the new timeline, right? So that is basically, I mean, what else have we got going on there? She's sat on a raft. She's living her best life. There's some swans in the background. I don't know whether you can see that, but that's actually, swans are indicative of the, or representative of the twin flame frequency, which is obviously divine masculine and feminine balance. So that's where harmony is brought forward, and that's a beautiful portal, is it not? But we are crossing the bridge right now, and everything is in balance because the portal is in the middle. So just to reiterate that first column, so this is about seer, the god of perception. This is what we need to be seeing and visioning. Okay, so freedom is being gifted upon us, and when we have that freedom and we work with, let me do it that way, we have Olympus, as above so below, because that's our true reality now, and we're now being given peace. So we really are being confirmed that where we are, where we have moved to, crossing over that bridge, all is well, all is well. So that is such a powerful column of the divine feminine. Now we move on to the second column, okay? And we're now looking at, so that was seer. We're now moving into hue. So remember, hue is in the divine. So with that being said, seer is like saying, yep, freedom, you know, temple, as above, so below, all those kind of things. We're like, great, that's the vision. That's what we're holding, right? So now we're asking hue, man, it's divine into the physical. Like, how do we embody that? How do we live by that and kind of like, maintain that frequency from our vision? You know, what is it that we need to actually maybe think about doing on, like, start to think about the physical realms? How do we live that out? Do you know what I mean? So the first card, let's turn that over. Graduation. Interesting. So there's a bit of a mystery school kind of thing here. So that for me is all about mastery, because there in the center, there is a scroll that is illuminated, right? And it's like, this is the graduation. Okay. And also as well as 28, which is a 10, which is completion. So like, you know, this is about coming into land, remember? So we're being told that we are graduated. We've kind of like earned our stripes. So you have the inner authority to speak your truth, share your light, share those creative ideas and projects. You know what I mean? You've been given the double thumbs up. You're allowed. You have that authority to speak from your heart. You know what I mean? So that's the graduation, meaning telling us that maybe the hard times are over and we really, really, really are going to be living out the divine feminine. So let me pull two other cards, which kind of like will guide us as to where we go. Okay, oneness. So we've got graduation, oneness. Again, there is a bridge. Okay, so, and also those beautiful rainbow codes there. So now graduation is taking us to that oneness wisdom, the I am presence. And I've been channeling ever such a lot about that. Sekhmet's been talking to me a lot about that today. So the oneness wisdom is when we go back to that, the two swans in the picture, that's the divine feminine, the divine masculine balance, right? So that's also kind of like echoing that card as well, which is Olympus, as above, so below, oneness, right? But we've still got a bridge. Okay, so there is, for me, that's coming through on this card, there is still an element that we are traveling over the bridge. If the bridge is present, which means we still are kind of like playing out our choice. Okay, because remember, there's a bridge here and there's a bridge here, which means you have access. Prior to this timeline, there was no bridge. Do you know what I mean? So this is oneness, all right? So that is kind of like the pathway that we're walking on now. And now we have the final card, awake, all right? So now basically, let's kind of like see what seer is telling us about freedom and the divine feminine. That's the visualization. And now hue is telling us what we need to actually start to what we need to think about or embody to be able to have the courage to step forward in our life. So we said graduation, you've got your stripes, you're good to go, you've made it, you know, don't feel like imposter syndrome, speak your truth, just create for creation's sake, show up, okay, because you're qualified. That's the word I'm looking for, qualified, right? Oneness, okay? So basically keeping all of this together, okay, is going to be the absolute foundation that's going to hold you up to be able to share those creations that you want with the world, because you're now whole, all right? And you're very much awake, all right? So once you go to, now see us kind of like telling us that we have the divine feminine at play. Now Hugh is telling us now, once you're awake, you can't go back to sleep. So it's like, it's done, okay? So have the confidence and the knowing that you've made the timeline shift. That is it, and that is all. You know what I mean? So it's like, this is more like a confirmation reading, actually, more than anything. And now let's move on to Heka, because Heka is like, right, boom, where do we go from here? What does it look like in the world? And so on and so forth. Okay, so now we're looking at this now, and it's like past. Okay, we'll pull two other cards on top of that. Beautiful card though, isn't it? Past, but she's walking willingly to the past. Okay, so maybe it's a case of making peace with your past. Okay, I know what this is now. All right, just wait a second and I'll bring you through the Gospel of Marie. Okay, so remember, Heka is all about the explosive factor. What does it look like in the world, all right? So now, yeah, so this is the past card. Underneath, we have magic. Of course it's going to fall under Heka because he's magic and medicine. But she's looking in the mirror. So now what you see is you staring back at you is this ancient being that knows everything, that is basically walked timelines, has so much wisdom, and you have the power at your fingertips. So there's absolutely no reason why you can't express your magic in this world, right? Now, the third card is birth. Okay, but look where she is. She's in the underworld. She's under the water, and she's actually coming up to the surface. So if you look, I don't know whether you can see that. Let me get the sun out of the way. She is bursting to the surface of the ground. So she's coming up into this physical earth plane. So he has been in the womb for quite some time. This is past timelines. We've been doing the shadow work. Now she's ready to burst to the surface and share the magic, right? Now the past, okay, so the past is basically all about your wisdom. This is all about qualification, this reading. This is all about confidence and qualification. Now, this isn't a traumatic card. She's going back to the past to basically draw on ancient wisdom to bring forward. And like, this is what this whole reading is about. You are so qualified, and you have the authority and the sovereignty to step forward courageously now and be unapologetically you. There is nothing that you need to feel less confident about in walking forward and being the full expression of your truth. Now, let's bring that down to the earth plane just a little bit. What do we mean by that? If you want to change the job, go and get a job that's more suited, go do it. If you want to, it's all about you suiting yourself. It's all about what's doing right for you. Now, the only reason you won't suit yourself or basically speak up and speak your truth and say, sorry, I'm not doing that. Maybe you're a people pleaser. I know I am. And, you know, maybe it's now saying, do you know what? It's okay to choose you, and you should be choosing you. So it's having that quiet confidence, very Sekhmet, of actually saying, no, sorry, that doesn't work for me. Does it make me happy? No, not really. Do you know what I mean? Get rid of it, bin it. Because when you do not have in authority, you will people please. But when you have a strength and tenacity and a confidence inside of you, it's not that you're saying fuck you to everybody. You're not saying that at all. It's just a case of just saying thank you, but no thank you. I'm going to choose me instead of choosing you, right? So I just want to go back, and now I like to do a bit of a summary. So I want to just say column 1. Remember what we said? We said freedom, these 3 cards, okay? We said freedom there. Oh, sorry, there. That's the first one. Freedom. We said as above, so below. That's the true vision of what's going on here. And peace. So that's our divine feminine. All right. Then we went on to We went on to hue, which is basically coming into land. This column is about taking up space. So we have the graduation. Yes, you've got your stripes. Yes, you're qualified to basically, you have the confidence to do what you want to do. Oneness, there's a bridge there. Everything is coming together, right? Everything. And that is the bridge that you're walking along. It might be a bit of a process. You might only land fully into this halfway through this year, maybe before, who knows? But it's happened. It's happening, right? And you are awake. You can't go back to sleep after being awake. So now you are awake. You can see exactly where you need to go. But the importance of this column here, tying all of this in, is she's walking courageously to the past, not because she's going to do shadow work, but because there's a lot of information of wisdom. This feels very Atlantis to me. So there's a lot of ancient Atlantis wisdom that's going to be pulled forth now for your benefit, right? And then that's going to activate the magic. Remember, magic is only born from being in a comfortable zone. So it's stepping out of your comfort zone now and trusting and having faith that you're going to be taken care of. Because if you do that, then of course the birth, you're coming up from the womb, you're coming up from the dark nights of the soul, you're coming up from the depth of the cauldron to actually now pop to the surface and just be, like look at all those wisdom keepers, those trees on the land. You're coming into the 3D realm now, which is a great place to be when you haven't got all your shit going on. You're ready to create. So I would say that this reading isn't giving you something specific to go and do. It's giving you a guidance on the process energetically and emotionally of what you're going through. And I think as a whole, I am just going to say this reading is all about authority. It's all about inner authority. It's all about taking up space. You are very powerful. You have much to share with the world. And it needs to happen now. It needs to be born, right? So now I'm just going to take, 3 cards. Told you it is a little bit involved. 3 cards of the ancient stones, okay? Rebecca Campbell's new ones. We like Rebecca Campbell, okay? So now we're going to take 3 cards now just to top on the top of the SOOOOO and Heka, right? See what she says. So let's see what the stones say on top of what I'm saying here. Right, so now this is Sia. This is about the idea and the vision, right? So pave your own way. Leadership, courage, forge, don't follow. Can't write this shit. There you go. There you go. This is all about leadership and authority. It's now time for you to step out. It's okay. You're good. You're golden. Okay. Second one, obstacle, find another road, flexibility, change. So this speaks very much of the old timeline. If you're banging your head against the wall, change direction, change your environment. You will be supported because clearly what you're doing, if you're finding a little bit of a stuckness or whatever, the change is the fearful part, but the change is what has to happen for you to live in the new timeline. And that's where all the magic is, right there. So change your direction. That's what I've had to do in a big way. And then the third one, lay it on the altar, hand it over, soften, surrender, forgive. So this is the divine feminine completely. So all of this inner authority showing up and all the rest of it, let the divine feminine take the lead, let her hold your space, because hand it over, soften, surrender. We are in this massive death phase because we've done so much flipping hard work. So now don't be, I need to be doing something. I don't have an idea or an offering or whatever. Chill, because if you quieten down all of the divine feminine energy and of course SOOOOO and Heka and your alchemical frequencies will show you, hey, what about this? So be still and be ready to receive it. Be like, I'm ready for my prize now. You know what I mean? Now, one card which I always like to pull, which is the Power of Surrender cards here. Absolutely brilliant cards. They will tell you exactly what shit you need to let go of. Okay, so we've got all of this magic on the table here. What is it that which is the main thing that we need to let go of to allow all of this to come into play? You know what I mean? It's what I call getting out the way of yourself. Okay, what are we picking here? Quite simple. Surrender stress. There we go. Because stress is also an illusion because you're stressing over the stuff that's not real. Take a few deep breaths and exhale the tension you've built up in your body. Let the stress go as you come back to your center. Okay? Like that's it and that's all. Just chill out. Chill out. Inner authority, and it's okay to be you. Boom. What else do we need to know? So that, ladies and gentlemen, is your Hekako's reading. If you wish to have an oracle reading, just get hold of me, and I would be honored to throw some, many cards out for you and see what your pathway forward looks like. Otherwise, enjoy this, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.